What's up, everybody? This is Jose from Southern Life. On today's video, I'm going to address something going on in Reddit that has to do with Lehi Acres. As you guys know, I've lived in Lehi Acres and I've lived in Alabama. Now, there's a neighborhood in Lehi Acres called Alabama. Now, there's this thing going on Reddit that I'm going to address because I'm looking at the comments and this thing is just crazy out of control. As you guys know, on our YouTube channel, we deal with something called satire comedy. Now, satire comedy is a type of comedy that unfortunately not everybody understands. So let me try to explain the Lehigh Lynyrd Skynyrd controversy. Lynyrd Skynyrd is actually from the state of Florida. Now, that is important because when I made a video in the neighborhood called Alabama in Lehigh, I mentioned that Lynyrd Skynyrd wrote the song about the neighborhood of Alabama. Obviously, that was a far stretch. However, when you do a satire comedy, you make some type of snarky remark that would highlight to the viewer that your comment is satire, that it isn't really like genuinely that comment. For example, I might say something like, well, my wife Katie is really slim. She's healthy. No doubt about it. See, that no doubt about it would have suggested that the previous comment was satire comedy, something that many people don't understand. But here's the issue and the irony of this situation. So I'll make the video in Lehi Acres, Florida, in the Alabama neighborhood where I mentioned that Lynyrd Skynyrd wrote the song Sweet Home Alabama, referring to this neighborhood in Lehi Acres. It wasn't true. Anybody who understands satire comedy would have understood that what I said in that video was not to be taken for literal. Now, more on that. The irony is that just on the outskirts of the Alabama neighborhood is a street called 2nd and Sebring. Now, you may have heard of a group called Of Mice and Men. They had a song about 14 years ago which broke music. It had like, I think it's up to like 22 million views on YouTube. It's called 2nd and Sebring. It's a heavy metal song. The instrumental's pretty nice. The vocals are kind of over the top of the screaming, as was typical with rock music of that era. Could have actually been a pretty nice song, except for, you know, I love the guitar melody and the riff and all that. It's just that the metal was just over the top, the screaming. If they had toned down the screaming a little bit, it could have actually been a pretty good song. But if you know the group of Mice and Men, that's kind of what they do. Irony about this whole situation. The song 2nd and Sebring is a neighborhood just about a mile from here. It's an intersection, just a random intersection in Lehigh where apparently somebody grew up, wrote a song about it, and it became a huge hit with 22 million views on the internet. Now that song of Mice and Men, many people, when they hear the song, they think it's about Sebring, Florida. However, very few people know that the song is actually about good old Lehi Acres, right here. And that's where the song of Mice and Men is actually about. The irony about this situation is that anybody who would have seen that video would have known exactly where the satire came from. Many people think that the group, Lynyrd Skynyrd, makes the song Sweet Home Alabama referring to the state of Alabama, not knowing that Lynyrd Skynyrd is actually from Jacksonville, Florida. So people are opinionated on the internet about music, but they know nothing about music or its history. Lynyrd Skynyrd is actually from Jacksonville, Florida. They wrote a song called Sweet Home Alabama, but the satire comedy in me makes a comment saying it's about a neighborhood in Lehigh. Now, the more logical thing that I expected people to say in the comments would have been, they're from Jacksonville, not Alabama. Many people in Alabama actually believe that Lynyrd Skynyrd is from Alabama because of the song Sweet Home Alabama. But the reality is that the song Sweet Home Alabama was not written by somebody in Alabama for Alabama. It was written by somebody in Florida for Alabama. And that is something that many people in Alabama are actually offended to find the truth about. Back to satire comedy. I figured that when I made those comments, somebody in the comment section would say, Lynyrd Skynyrd is from Jacksonville, Second and Sebring is in Lehigh. It's a play on words of information that somebody should have seen the video, recognized, and commented the right answer, understanding my satire comedy. Nobody understood it because nobody knows anything about Lynyrd Skynyrd or about anything with music. They don't know any of the songs or history of anything in Florida. Now, if you are an avid Lehi Acres fan, you probably know for a fact, right? Second and Sebring was a very popular song, millions of views, about Lehi Acres, Florida, a random intersection in Lehi Acres. If you're from Lehi Acres, you should probably know this about your town. Now, if you're from Sebring, Florida, you would probably also know that the song Second and Sebring isn't about the town of Sebring, it's about an intersection in Lehi Acres, Florida. The problem is that we have people that don't know Florida history, don't know Florida culture, don't know anything about music, but they're heavily opinionated about both of those things. I expect people to somewhat understand the difference between my trolling drive around videos and my real life content. Now, when you click on my videos, you can tell if the content is serious or of comical purposes. Like I recently released a video about the Flander. It's an ongoing joke on my YouTube channel because when I went to St. Mary's, Georgia, we ran into a person who said the word Flander instead of Flounder. I thought it was hilarious. I mentioned it in some of my videos during that road trip, and it stuck with our channel, as many of the little odds and ends as a YouTuber people just pick up. The audience loved it. And Flander has been a thing on my YouTube channel because in Alabama and Georgia and other country places, they don't say, I want to eat a flounder. They say, I want Flander. It stuck to our channel and people love it. The problem is that these Reddit users are very opinionated. They'll trash talk a YouTube creator like me when they know nothing about music, they know nothing about history, they know nothing about nothing, and then they watch a YouTube video that they didn't understand the context of and go and trash talk a creator, making the creator look like an idiot, when in reality, it's them who don't understand about music, history, nothing. They're completely unlettered men. On that same Reddit, people start talking about my YouTube channel, how I treat my wife, Katie, which, by the way, I'm the one who pays for bills. It's none of your business. And it creates a lot of comments. Me and Katie have decided that we're going to keep running with that theme because as long as people are commenting, we're getting paid. And boy, do we live good. I got a big TV. I got a nice apartment in Lakewood Ranch. I got the keys to a brand new GMC. Ain't there a country song about that? Bank finally came through and I'm holding the keys to a brand new Chevrolet. But y'all don't know nothing about that. Back to that Reddit. On that Reddit post, people start talking about our YouTube channel. There's a disclaimer on my main page. The reason there's a disclaimer on my main page is because I have consulted lawyers who have told me exactly what type of vocabulary I need to have on my videos so nobody sues me. The entirety of my YouTube channel has a disclaimer. Not on every single video, but on the main page. It says that everything on my channel is for entertainment purposes. It's not for financial advice. It's not for legal services. It's for entertainment purposes. That is a legal disclaimer that will protect my YouTube channel from getting sued by people of defamation. Because the idea of defamation, as has been explained to me by lawyers, is to maliciously say something about somebody that hurts their reputation. If you have a disclaimer that says it's your personal opinion, they can't sue you. It's a legal thing. Now, me and Katie personally enjoy doing our drive around videos like this. The problem is that these drive around videos don't get a lot of views. And while me and Katie, would you probably agree that our favorite videos are drive arounds?
Yes.
A fact, our favorite videos are the drive around videos. This is what we like doing. A lot of our subscribers follow us just for this. The problem with this is that this doesn't pay for that brand new Chevrolet. It pays for a few things, but it doesn't pay for a brand new Chevrolet and a house in Lakewood Ranch and all the food that Katie eats, like carrots and beets.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I don't like these new type of videos that I'm doing about arrest results and immigration and news related videos. I don't like making them. I hate that I have to sit here and make these videos. Unfortunately though, the internet isn't about what you want to give the internet, it's about what the internet wants from you. And the internet wants my knowledge on the state of Florida to help people moving here and to help people understand the mess that the state of Florida is in. Now, there's a lot of accusations on the internet, none of which check out. One of them is that I'm a liberal, married to a woman, not a man, wearing a camo shirt, driving a GMC, not a Prius. Okay. Now, don't have a criminal record, neither me nor my wife. So we're law-abiding people. Every vehicle I've driven is a truck. I've had ATVs. Now, does that mean we live in a world that is very polarizing? If you drive a truck, you're this. If you drive a Prius, you're that. Well, how about this? How about when I go buy a truck, I'll buy a truck because it's what I need. If I buy a Prius, it's because I need a fuel economy. If I buy a truck, it's because I'm hauling stuff or off-roading or stuff like that. Not every decision in your life has to be based on politics. For some people, politics have become so polarizing in their life that everything they do, from the TV shows they watch to the places they go, even to where they live and vacation, is determined by what Fox News or CNN tells them. That's not the case with me and Katie. We go vacation where we want, we travel where we want, we drive the car we want, we do the things we want. No political ideology determines what we do with our lives. We don't let CNN or Fox News tell us how to live our lives. And for a lot of people, they want to label you this or that because they're trapped in this polarizing world where this shirt represents something, this cowboy hat represents something. You know, also, I've been walking down the streets and I've seen guys and they call me a cowboy. Like you might have seen it in my Fort Myers video where some kid yelled at me. He's like, "Oh, you cowboy," or whatever. I don't care what a guy thinks about this hat. I know what the girls think about the hat. Okay, what do you think about the hats? Thanks for demonetizing the video. Okay, so girls like it. So I don't care what a guy thinks about my hat because I'm not wearing this hat for other guys. Like I'm on the street and I see guys and there's like, you might see some of those where like somebody's in the background, "Hey, cowboy," but they're walking away while they're saying it. They're not coming in my face to say it. They're walking away while they say it. I don't care what another guy thinks about this hat. I'm not wearing this hat for guys. I'm wearing this hat for chicks. Like, hey, you think it's hot?
I have a truck because I'm fat.
I'm sorry. So look, you know, a lot of people don't understand satire comedy. Good for you. There's just some people that, and I've been doing satire comedy since the time I was just a young little lad. And I did run into people who didn't get it, didn't understand satire comedy. So me and my friends would always mess around, run the bus, saying jokes, and this and that. And every time I made a joke, there's one girl would be like, "I don't get it." Would be like, just some people naturally don't understand satire comedy. And you try to explain it to them, and they just don't get it. So to those people that don't understand satire comedy, I don't even know how to explain it. And I do a lot of it, but just because I'm good at it doesn't mean I know how to explain it. Now, trolling places. We troll a lot of places. What was probably our first video that we did that kind of blew up accidentally, like Tyler, Texas would have been one. Uniontown, Alabama. Irontown, Ohio.
Yep.
These were towns that we weren't exactly trying to troll them.
No, we were just there.
But they flipped out. Find out how much money that the Uniontown video in Alabama made me. Uniontown, how much money that video made me. So we discovered that we could troll particular towns and that it was actually pretty profitable. I'm so frustrated. So on that same Reddit thread, people are talking about my Alabama story. Is my Alabama story real or not? You know, it's people like that that just don't freaking get it. Yes, there is a disclaimer on my YouTube channel for all my videos claiming that they're for entertainment purposes. To the people that, discredit my Alabama story, I think after I left Alabama, enough things happened in Alabama that confirmed what I was telling you guys. A lot of people get mad at me and Katie because, we have to do these types of videos, but keep in mind that you're the idiot that clicks on it. Don't be mad at me because I have to cater to the audience. I would rather be doing this. This is what me and Katie like to do. We like to travel. Unfortunately, that's not what you idiots click on. So a lot of times people get mad at me for the type of content that I do. But remember that you're the idiot that clicks on those videos, not me. When I upload this, it gets 1,000 views. When I upload some drama, it gets 50,000 views. So it isn't me that wants to create this garbage content. It's you guys at home who decide what us creators get to build. And unfortunately, YouTube was a dream a few years ago for me and Katie, and it has become a job. This is the plaque that you receive when you hit 100,000 subscribers. Now I dropped it and it's got a little dent on the top corner because I had it on the wall, but I think when my dad was over, he threw the door too hard and fell on the ground, dented it. But anyways, it's what it represents and what it means. This plaque right here is what everybody wants. A lot of people just don't understand how difficult it is to be a YouTuber. You have to deal with cyber stalking, cyber bullies. You have to deal with law enforcement on a constant basis as people are harassing you needlessly. Many times these individuals there's been other stories from other YouTubers. So again, I'm not gonna give these people any, in Alabama, I made the mistake about talking about some of the things that happened. And I learned that that was a mistake. So we're not gonna talk about anything particularly on our channel because while living in Alabama, we learned that that's a bad thing to do because it only gives those people kind of more fuel to the fire, if you could say. So we ignore it, and we just understand that it's kind of like every once in a while, if you have a restaurant, you have to deal with the inspectors. The inspectors come along, and it's not a fun day. It's the same thing for YouTube channel. Now, to the people that, there's always going to be somebody who doesn't agree with you or accuses you of spreading misinformation or whatever the crap. I mean, nobody, at the end of the day, like I said in my disclaimer, it says it's personal opinion, so you don't have to like it. You don't have to watch it. We also have a policy on our YouTube channel that me and Katie implement heavily, which is if you disrespect us, you're gone. We don't have to tolerate disrespect. We don't have to cater to people who are disrespecting us. And we've even had other YouTube creators who cyber stalk us openly, which is crazy because they're creating like a legal paper trail. It's crazy that somebody would do that, but we've had a few creators who have actually gone as far as creating videos, very graphic and violent videos about us. It's just horrendous what you have to deal with as a YouTube creator. Now, you at some point might meet somebody that you admire and, just try to act normal. Like I've met Nick Johnson and he's got probably one of the most famous people I've met, from the YouTube world. I met Nick Johnson. It was like a normal encounter. In fact, me and him just kind of had to figure out a video. He made a video, I made, and just kind of talked through some things that were kind of serious. When I talked to Nick Johnson, he told me how much money he was making on YouTube. And I was like, yeah, I got to get more serious. And you know what? After I talked to Nick Johnson, I got on my business about my YouTube channel. And I've been able to make a lot of money since then because I understood, talking to Nick Johnson, how much money you could make on YouTube. And I was like, yeah, I want to get that. Now, I've never been able to reach the level he's at with money and subscriptions and all that. And I see how he does what he does. But the thing is, I can never look at somebody else's formula and copy. I always have to do my own thing. And one of the problems that I've had throughout the entirety of my YouTube career has been people that start to do what I do, and then they do it better, but deep down that they're knocking off your ideas. And this has been kind of a battleground for me with other YouTube creators who I feel are recycling my content. So I'll make a video, and this is something that my audience doesn't like because they watch those channels too. And I'm criticizing a channel that they like, but the reality is that I made the original video that wasn't on the internet. Nobody had touched on this topic, just a small thing. They go back, recycle my video with drones and better recording equipment, all that, and they make a hyped up version of that video, then they clickbait it. So going into the homeless camps, I'm still waiting for somebody to do that. Some things that I do, just most people. Like when you do something like this, like, okay, you want to go and risk your life for this, the phase of going into homeless camps, that was about a year ago. We did an incredible work. We interviewed over 200 people, I believe. The problem with that was that I started to have nightmares. I did get hurt in a homeless camp in Fort Myers. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I got bitten by a dog right here, and I got medical bills from it. Getting bitten by a pit bull in a homeless camp is quite the experience. I've had people pull weapons on me of all sorts. I've practically been taken in the unlawful detention in these homeless camps, for lack of a better term. I've been held at homeless camps in not too friendly circumstances. Some of these homeless camps are just junkie camps. There's just 10 or 12 needle junkies that are in this camp in the middle of the woods, and you go out there and they're gonna interrogate you. The only thing that has saved my life is that on 3 occasions, people have recognized me and they're like, yo, that's Jose, he's cool, he interviews homeless people. And to those people who've done that, thank you, because I don't know how those situations would have ended. I'm no longer doing the homeless camps, to be honest. I don't think there's as many left in Florida as there used to be, but it isn't even that there aren't that many homeless camps left, which there aren't that many because the state of Florida cleaned them up, probably because of my YouTube videos, and they're trying to cover it up. They don't want people to know this exists. I think my YouTube videos have made a significant impact on the homeless population. One, in helping people understand the reality of homelessness, and two, not everybody knew that these things existed. I had a lot of people email me, tell me, Jose, I'm worried about you for exposing the homeless camps in Florida because there's a lot of people who would prefer that wasn't on the internet because it makes them look like they're not doing their job right. For those people, I thank you, and you're right. I'm still here somehow, but I'm pretty sure that in the process of showing the world the homeless camps of Florida, I have definitely ruffled some feathers of some individuals. It's crazy that when I see the governor of Florida or for other people talk on their videos, I know they're talking about my YouTube channel. And I wasn't doing it to get their attention. I was doing it because I genuinely thought people needed to know that this problem existed. But without a doubt, the homeless series, which we're kind of stepping out of for a few reasons. For one, it isn't that relevant anymore. It isn't really, people understand it already. Like, I covered it intensively. People understand that this is what homelessness in Florida is like. And homelessness is always going to be part of our channel in some way or another. I'm still pulling body cam footage of homeless arrest. So homelessness is still part of what we do. It's still a relevant part of what we do on this YouTube channel. But it isn't, I think last month I just did these series right here on the homeless camp videos. And yeah, we're still doing homeless camp videos sporadically. But the thing about going into the homeless camps and just in depth going inside of these completely lawless homeless camps where people, 10, 15, 20, 50 people live clandestinely, that was some wild crap that the internet probably wasn't ready for. And people in Florida didn't realize that in their gated communities behind their house are people living like this. The homeless camp, series that we did was incredible. I don't think it's going to be the main thing of our channel moving forward because I think most of us understood the homeless problem, and the vast majority of us, and this is what they said on Reddit too, and a few other YouTube creators have made videos talking about my YouTube channel on this homeless topic. For most people, the homeless camp videos were so emotionally draining to watch because you're like this guy right here, clearly mentally disabled, living in the tent in the woods, not getting any help. Stories like this guy right here, who are like that, or they're disabled or in a wheelchair, they're so heartbreaking that you have to stop watching. And I'm gonna be honest, when it comes to the homelessness, I had to stop doing homeless camp videos. I was having nightmares about becoming homeless. It was affecting my mental well-being. So I had to stop doing the homeless camp videos because it was emotionally draining me. Now, you guys at home are seeing what's in front of the camera, okay? You're not seeing the things that I see behind the cameras. And let me tell you, the craziest things in these homeless camps, you can't record some of these things. You might interview a female and she might tell you a story about her life, but behind camera, she might tell you some details about their stories that you can't put on YouTube. I've had to edit out parts of interviews that are they're too heavy for the internet. I have to admit that I had to stop going into homeless camps. I just couldn't do it anymore. It's so heartbreaking. I gave clothes, I couldn't do anymore. And I think many of us in the United States have become so desensitized to homelessness that when I started going into these places and showing the reality of what happens in these places, and that most of these people are mentally infirmed, they were women that were since little being, when we started getting these stories about what happens in these homeless camps, most of us realized that as a society, we fail these people. Even if they have an addiction, so what? If you had been hurt since you were a little kid, you probably wouldn't be okay. Our homeless series highlighted the injustices that society had dealt these people. And that wasn't the purpose of it. I was trying to understand the problem, but once we understood homelessness, it became very evident that okay, now we have a pattern that sadly 95% of these people match a profile, okay? And everybody's homeless story is different. There's no two stories alike. And there are individuals who have really strange reasons why they ended up homeless, but you start to see patterns, abuse, orphanage, they didn't have parents since they were little. A lot of them have been homeless since they were 12, 13 years old. A lot of them, their parents forced them to take the substances. A lot of them, their parents were already consuming when they were little. A lot of them, their parents were a wreck. Sometimes even the parents did horrible things that we can't even talk about. So the parents, yeah. How does that affect the rest of somebody's life? So I feel like with the homeless situation, and it's great because growing up, I did have friends that became homeless and I knew their whole entire life trajectory. And that just helped me to kind of understand other people's trajectory. And I'm not saying everybody's story is the same, because they're not. But I think at this point we kind of understand as a whole what this story is about, what the situation is about. We now understand homelessness. And then we see Florida, despite the fact that we exposed the real nitty and gritty of homelessness, and we see the way the law treats these people, it's hard. I had to stop. I couldn't keep doing it anymore. I can give a homeless person a meal, I can help somebody, but beyond that, I can't change, and they tear these places down, and, a month or two later, they're back at it again, I had to stop. I couldn't keep going with the homelessness. And a lot of my subscribers told me the same thing. Jose, I really like what you're doing, but I can't watch this. It's too emotional, it's too difficult to watch. And I mean, to be fair, situations like these homeless camps in Florida, this should not be existing in the United States. I mean, people living in these conditions in the United States, it's wild. We exposed it. A lot of people thought that because I did that I would face some type of repercussions. So here's the thing. At this point, I dealt with Alabama. I've dealt with all the dangers of homelessness. I don't know if there's going to be repercussions from law enforcement because we showed something they didn't want to show. They want to paint Florida as this place of law and order, and here we are showing the complete opposite being true. So I don't know if there'll be repercussions for this. There could be or there not. I don't know. Now that I'm covering immigration, it's the same thing. Is there somebody in the government that doesn't want me to report the truth about what's happening with immigration? And I'll be honest, I'm sick and tired of wondering that. I want to go back to traveling. I want to go back to enjoying what I do. The homeless thing was pretty cool, but it was terrifying. It was difficult and it was scary. Many times Katie would force me to go out there and do it because I wasn't ready to do it. I was scared. It was difficult. It wasn't easy to do this, but somehow we did it, you know? And I gotta thank my friend Kevin for going with me on the last little bit, because if it wasn't for him going with me, I don't think I'd have done the last few series of homelessness. We get it, we understand it. I don't see the purpose of continuing with that. And now that I'm doing this homelessness, so the theme is that I'm not a real journalist because I don't have an education. I don't have a degree in journalism. So I'm not technically a real journalist. I tried to convince Katie recently to let me to move to Orlando so I could go to a journalism school, but she's against it. She says it's too long of a study course. The issue is that to do real journalism like I've been doing lately, you practically have to risk your life. We have a lot of people that support our YouTube channel that are in law enforcement. They can't come out and say it, but they watch our videos, they enjoy our videos, and they respect what I do. And I meet police officers all the time. People, you know, they know who we are and they respect us for what we do. And we're not exactly doing anything bad. The thing about what I'm doing is I'm not doing anything bad. It's just the what ifs of how somebody may feel about what you're doing. It's not that there's something wrong with Sarasota and Branson. We love our life here. But I do feel that for me and Katie, a city like Houston or Miami would put us in a better situation where we could do the journalism on a big scale. Like, this is a great place to live, but me and Katie need to be in Miami, Houston, Orlando, Los Angeles or New York, or Seattle, or like a big city. The type of work that we're doing could conquer a bigger audience. As you guys know, I got hurt about a year ago. I'm still in pain. It doesn't go away. I've learned to live with it. It doesn't go away. Then you meet people like Sam, which, you know, it's heartbreaking when you see somebody that lives in your community and you see them decline. You want the best for them. But at the end of the day, like, it's also like the hardest thing about the homelessness too is like keeping track of hundreds of people on the street that have these horrendous stories that just almost always can decline. We've interviewed several people that are not here anymore. It's overwhelming, you know, to follow these people's trajectories. We've interviewed a few that messaged me one day and they're like, hey, I'm not homeless anymore. And it feels good. It feels good. We've got a few people where one day we get an email, they're like, hey, I'm not homeless anymore. But unfortunately for the ones that are mostly addicted, mental health, it's not realistic for them to get out of that situation. I mean, you do meet some that eventually work their way out of homelessness, and it's beautiful to see that. But the heartbreaking stories outnumber the success stories of homelessness. And that is something that was just too difficult to keep going with. I think that moving to another larger city would also put us where we could start doing more, exploring something new, because I feel like I'm burnt out with Southwest Florida. I love this area, don't get me wrong. I don't hate this area, I love it. I don't want to move, but I know that we got to do something bigger somewhere else. The problem is, I'm gonna be real with you guys on this, moving costs a lot of money. Our rent here is ridiculous. Our car payment's ridiculous. The amount of money that I have to invest to get videos for our YouTube channel is insane. Gas, hotels, you have no idea. Paying people for interviews, they're not free. It's just an amount of expenses that are ridiculous, to where I could have a month where I make $10,000 and after I cover everything, I might get to the next month. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the overhead of running a successful YouTube channel. It's not as profitable. And then at the end of the year, you gotta pay taxes. It's a 1099. We do wanna move to a bigger city. Our parents are in Southwest Florida. That's why Miami would make the most sense, because we're, you know, about the same distance as we are now from them. The problem with moving to a bigger city is that our rent's gonna go up, which means our overhead's gonna keep going up. And I can move to a place where my overhead is less, but then we wouldn't have a YouTube channel. So it's like, you know, you might have to keep stepping it up. I mean, what we did here in Sarasota and Branson has been incredible, because we're right next to the Tampa metro area, and that's been able to expand our audience. But I'm thinking I can conquer, if I can conquer the Tampa Bay area, and I haven't even focused that much on Tampa. Like, I could go and like focus more on Tampa and conquer the audience in Tampa, but it just hasn't happened to me. If I was in Tampa, I just don't like Tampa, I'm gonna be honest. I love Sarasota, and Bradenton to a degree, but I just don't like Tampa. Just not me. I don't like it. I enjoy going to Tampa, but I wouldn't want to live there. So Miami is a much nicer city. Yeah, facts.